Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig, where we talk about all things firearms, Second Amendment, community, politics, you name it. We're talking about it right here, all Second Amendment related, right here on Coffee with Craig. So please take a moment to like and share this video or the podcast so that your friends can join in the conversation as it is happening. Also, please make sure to go to fpcgear.com. That's fpcgear.com. There you will find all sorts of cool T-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, all promoting the Second Amendment. And know that every dollar that you spend there goes right back into the fight for our right to keep and bear arms. So you can support the Second Amendment and you can look good doing it. That's fpcgear.com. So talking about the Second Amendment, it's election time. And now, you guys all know that the Firearms Policy Coalition, we don't endorse candidates. We like to do what we like to call, we help educate you as to what's going on, what they're doing while they're in the legislature. But there are folks who do spend a lot of time and a significant amount of resources to make sure that you have information about candidates who are seeking to run for office. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring one of those individuals, or at least my favorite of those individuals, on the show today to talk about the upcoming election, to talk about the work that they've done and the inspection that they've done of candidates who are running for office and where they stand on the Second Amendment. And with that, I would like to welcome my good friend and mentor, Mr. Sam Paredes with Gun Owners of California. Sam, how are we doing today?
Craig, I am doing really well, and I am very happy to be on the show with you so we can talk about all of this very important information. And plain flat out, I just enjoy spending time with you. So good.
Well, and it's vice versa.
Yeah.
So, all right. So tell me a little bit about, now, one of the things that really excited me was, I know that you guys had a little bit of a change in how you did your grading system this year. And it was the sort of change that really excited me. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about what generally goes into your scorecard and then what you changed this year?
Well, Craig, since 1974-75, when Senator H.L. Richardson created Gun Owners of California, we have been grading elected officials on their voting records on the Second Amendment as the issues come up before them. And we send out questionnaires to candidates who are running for office so that we know where they stand on the issues. We assigned a grade based on those responses. And in the past, if you were a solid 100% voting on the Second Amendment in the legislature, you got an A. You have a proven track record. And if you were a candidate and you got all of the questions that we asked correctly, then you got an A. And we've done that for literally decades. And this year, given our present set of circumstances, of which you are very familiar with, we decided that it was time to step it up, and that just being a friend, no matter how good, isn't good enough. You're either fighting to protect the Second Amendment, and you are acknowledged as doing so, or you are just another good vote. So in trying to encourage incumbent legislators, that means senators and assemblymen who are sitting in the chambers to support the Second Amendment, we said from now on, you cannot get an A rating unless you either sponsor legislation, you stand up in committee and fight to oppose bad legislation and support good legislation verbally, vocally, you stand up on the floor of the legislature and fight for the Second Amendment and articulate why the United States Constitution trumps all of the bad gobbledygook that's being passed. So we decided that unless you do one of those things, the highest grade you can get is a B, even if you have a lifetime 100% voting record.
Well, and I think that's vitally important, because one of the things that's happening is these bills are just passing, and the people who are watching this happen, they're like, why aren't the pro-gun members saying anything? Why aren't they standing up? Why aren't they fighting? Because, you and I in these committees, we get 2 minutes. And that's really it. We don't get asked we don't get asked key questions, in particular, like follow-up questions on some very, very important points that we make. And they don't even when we share with them information, it seems like too many of them just don't even bother to challenge the clear and utter just lies that seem to be being told by the anti-gun side.
Yeah, Craig, you're absolutely correct. And this is our way of letting people know that, hey, we really don't have friends in politics, because every politician sooner or later will disappoint you. You have good acquaintances and you have bad acquaintances, because politicians are transient. Friends are forever. Politicians are transient. And, they can vote. If they're voting 100% pro-gun all the time and we're still losing every time, we need more than just their votes. We need them to fight on our behalf, or fight along with us, or coordinate with us to give us the opportunities, to give you and me and some of our other colleagues the opportunity to respond to the, as you pointed out, outright bald-faced lies that are projected as fact in these committees. And it gives us the opportunity to project that information and present it to the media, who will share that with the broader public. And so that is what we're trying to encourage. If they all died, if all the pro-gun votes died and we still lost every time, it wouldn't make any difference if they're there. So just voting right isn't a difference enough. You have to be working and coordinating with us on a plan to gain an advantage, to make forward progress. And that's more than just voting. So, yeah, it's a tough stance. I got some calls from some existing legislators who were our friends for many years, and they say, "What's up? What do you mean I'm not going to get an A? I voted with you all the time." And I just kind of explained the facts to them, and they seem to get it reluctantly, but they seem to get it. And we'll see if we have more of them standing up on the floor and fighting on our behalf.
It's almost as if in some cases they're embarrassed to admit that they believe in the Second Amendment. But I think some of it is also they're embarrassed that they don't really understand and some of them don't really understand the issue the way that they should. And I always say this. You talk about not just rewarding them simply for voting right. I remember, my kids were little, and they're both grown now. But I remember I used to get, people would compliment me and they'd praise my kids on the fact that they did what they were supposed to do. The fact that they didn't just run around crazy, the fact that they were respectful. I'm like, yeah, those are things that they're supposed to do. I don't reward my kids for doing what they were supposed to do. If they went above and beyond, that's what it was expected. And in many cases, we have people, in particular people who have that R after their name, it's expected that you believe in the Second Amendment.
That's absolutely correct, Craig. I don't know how better to put it than you just did so eloquently. People doing what is expected of them to do should not be looking for praise. That is expected. And as you said, it's those people who go above and beyond, who articulate the case, who, as you rightfully point out on a regular basis, the Second Amendment is not only a constitutional amendment, it's a civil right. We point out that it pre-existed the Constitution. People who stand up on the legislative floor and can articulate that and say, not only are you folks wrong, but you are anti-civil rights, you are anti-Constitution, and you are anti-history, which means you are anti-fact. Mm-hmm. And so what you're promoting is wrong, and that's why we have to fight this. So you're right. We need to hold politicians to a higher standard now. Our expectations of them should be more than just a good vote, especially when their good vote isn't gaining you any victories. If we lose by 1 vote or we lose by 10 votes, we still lose. We need to win.
And in addition to that, saying the right things will help get. I mean, it's kind of funny because they come to us and they want us to give them money, and we're not FPC. We don't donate to candidates. I don't attend any of their fundraisers or anything like that. We don't have a political action committee at the moment, but the one thing that we can do is that when we have someone who stands up proud and who articulates why they are opposing the taking of this civil right, we can share that to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And those are the individuals that will eventually help them out and contribute to them and eventually. But here's the thing. If you don't say anything, we have nothing to share. We have nothing to
That's
tell
right.
people when you do that.
You've hit the nail on the head, Craig. One of the things that I've tried to do for decades in talking to legislators is try to get them to understand that if they were to develop a constituency outside of their own district, they become much more influential. And that is exactly what you're talking about. By giving us the ammunition to load our guns and shoot them out there in the public for our
Right.
folks to see and go, ooh, that is awesome. How can I
Right.
help this person?
The-
They can become heroes to our people,
Exactly.
and they will support them.
The thing is
That's a beautiful.
right. The thing is, it's one thing if you and I are the voice of the battle for the Second Amendment in the legislature. It's a whole different story when legislators are the voice for fighting for the battle of the Second Amendment in the legislature.
Right.
The other side has no problem
That's
with
right.
it. For some reason, our folks do. But speaking of our folks, there's one. I know that a lot of people assume that just because they have an R after their name, that whatever they say, it must be pro-gun. Now I know that there is at least one member with an R after their name in the California legislature who probably doesn't have a good grade with you. I'm going to assume, and I'm going to assume you know who I'm talking about.
We are not bashful to let people know that Assemblywoman Catherine Baker from the Assembly District 16 has an F rating from Gun Owners of California. We learned a big lesson in that situation. It appeared that she was going to be helpful to us in a very difficult district. But in fact, once she got in there, she went the other way and hasn't given us a single vote. She's either not voted or voted against us, and especially voted against us on the most important of the bills.
But even measuring by your new standard, one of the things she's also done is not even just that she hasn't been a good vote. I mean, I think the first term she was in, she wasn't a good vote, and to a certain degree, she got a pass. But beyond that, now she has literally become. There we go. She's literally become anti-gun in her statements. I mean, she's authoring bills that are sponsored by gun groups like Everytown and the Brady campaign. She's bragging about voting to ban guns. Bragging about it.
Yep. On her website, she makes it a point to state that she's never taken a dime from the National Rifle Association, and yet she goes on to extol the virtues of being supported by Everytown and the Brady campaign and Moms Demand Action with joy and glee, and sponsors legislation that is on their things to do list. And frankly, that is not a friend of ours. Given the opportunity to have a Republican who is anti-gun or a Democrat who's anti-gun, it's actually my philosophy. It's better to have an anti-gun Democrat, because then we can go after them with a pro-gun Republican,
Right.
Especially in this uniquely swing district. But when you have a Republican that votes like a Democrat, it's time to send a message to all of the other Republicans out there that, hey, you're supposed to be on our side and you're not. We'll let people know.
It is hard enough. It's hard enough fighting across the battlefield. It's another thing when you have to start worrying about people whoever's in your own foxhole.
Yeah.
Now, where can folks get a hold of your report card?
We have a website for Gun Owners of California Campaign Committee. It's www.gocpac.com. That's Gun Owners of California Political Action Committee.com. gocpac.com. And what we've done there is we've given our grades for all of the incumbent legislators, senators, and assemblymen. We grade the candidates who sent us a response to their questionnaires. And if they didn't, it usually means that they have something to hide, whether it doesn't matter what party they are, if they don't respond to the questionnaire request. And we list that there also. We also have some suggestions, my personal suggestions on the propositions, on the initiatives that are on the ballot. In this case, they have nothing to do with the Second Amendment. They just have to do with freedom and liberty and good government. That being the smallest government there is, the better. The less intrusive they are into our lives, the better. The less money they steal out of our wallets, the better. So we have a list of all of the propositions and an explanation as to why we take the position that we take, just as a suggestion to you. And you're welcome to go there. If you have any questions, you can always call us at 916-984-1400 at our office here. And if you're a member of SPC and a supporter, you can call and speak to Craig, and he'll pretty much always know exactly where we are and why we are where we are. Mm-hmm. Most of this stuff we have discussed over a cup of coffee and maybe something stronger on occasion.
Some coffee with something in it.
Yes, coffee enhanced. But you know, folks, don't stay out there in the blind. Don't operate without information. Avail yourself of the information that's available for you to educate yourself on how to make a good vote. And then, just like you've been asked to share this podcast, this webcast to your friends through whatever medium of social media that you're involved in, that's a beautiful thing. Also share your information on who the good people are to vote, or where people can go to find out who the good guys and who the good gals are, and how to cast their ballots. And if they have a question, call. Just pick up the phone, drop a dime. No, that shows how old I am, dropping a dime. Dial the cell phone and give us a call, and we'll try to help you maneuver through your ballot. Every single ballot is incredibly important. I will venture to guess that there will be more than just a few districts, a few elections this year that will be decided by a very, very small margin of votes. So those who believe in civil liberties, those who believe in the Second Amendment, the Constitution, you're going to make a difference. So don't stay away from the elections. Participate.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Sam Paredes, Gun Owners of California. Sam, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the work. I appreciate the chance that we've had to work together over these years. And, I'm hoping that we're not going to have as much work next year, unless it's like pushing pro-gun legislation.
That would be a beautiful thing, Craig. I do too. And I want everybody to know I appreciate the very kind words that you offer. But I learn things from you all the time also. You are a fabulous communicator and a wonderful wordsmith. And you evoke ideas that people need to hear in a very cool way. So I appreciate our relationship. As long as we keep growing, we keep growing. Once we're ripe, we rot, man. I don't want to get in that position.
I'm with you, sir. I am right there with you. All right, everybody. That's Sam Paredes. All right, well, hey, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. We very much appreciate you guys tuning in. Please remember to like and share. That's like and share this program so that your friends can join in the conversation and know that Firearms Policy Coalition, we are the home in the fight for civil rights. Got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.